There are small, sneaky habits that you do every single day that is literally draining you. It is taking away your productivity and it is draining your energy levels. And today we are going to dive into what those specifically are because I want you to regain your power, reclaim your energy, and use that energy towards going to where you want to go in life. Now, the first one is a simple one, but it's one that we really have to get right because if you start your day like this, you're probably going to end your day like this as well. And you're not going to be as productive as you could have been. So the first thing is mindless scrolling. Yes, we know this. But the problem is we're doing it as soon as we wake up. So as soon as you wake up, a phone is in your hand, right? Your phone's in your hand and you're scrolling. And so now you could be in bed for hours when you're supposed to get up, be on your purpose, and get to work. So the first thing that you should do when you wake up is probably not grab your phone, but probably grab a journal or a book. Okay. Grab something to read and educate yourself with. Grab a journal so you can write and reflect maybe on the dreams that you had that night, maybe on the intentions that you're setting for what you want your day to look like. So you want to have journals and you want to have books. Those are ways in which you can educate your mind. Okay. You want to wake up and you want to go and work out or go for a walk. Things that will set the tone for the day. If you start with productivity, most likely you'll end your day with productivity and you might end earlier and you'll have time for rest, relaxation, and you'll have time to reset and do it all over again the next day. But if you start your day with laziness, you'll probably end your day with laziness. So we have to be more productive. And, the first productive things that we should do should be fundamental to the mind, fun to the mental, fun to your mentality, right? And so that's going to help you to be the best version of yourself on a consistent basis. You have to replace one habit with another. All right. And scrolling on your phone, that takes away way more energy than we think. Science reports that it's just like drugs. When you are on your phone scrolling, it does the same thing that drugs does to your mind. And you want more and more and more to the point where it's never enough. But also, you never get enough work done. You're procrastinating and passing it on towards the next day. That ends today. The second sneaky habit that we're doing that's not good is poor sleep. We need a better sleep routine. We need to make sure that we're getting proper rest. And on top of that, you have to understand that when you sleep, that's when your body recovers. So, of course, if you watch this channel, you got to be active. You got to be going to the gym, doing your part when it comes to your physical health. But your body does not actually grow muscles when you are looking in the mirror at the gym. Okay. It grows muscles when you have proper rest, proper sleep, when you're able to really get that deep rest. Now you're able to have the recovery that you need. On top of that, your testosterone levels continue to rise, right? And that's important because nowadays, if you notice what's happening, testosterone levels are going down. Part of that might be because we're going to bed endlessly scrolling, looking at blue light. And then when we sleep, it's hours later than when we said we were going to sleep. So we need to sleep a little bit earlier and we need to have a nice nighttime routine that keeps us on track so we can take care of our health. Because when we sleep, that's when our body recovers everything, not just from your gym workout, but your overall well-being and your overall health. A big one is toxic friendships, toxic relationships. It's your environment. And what you have to understand is the environment that you put yourself in, it really does become the environment that your mind is. So people can plant seeds. And if it's not positive seeds, it could be negative seeds. You have to see what's growing in your mind because your thoughts really do shape your reality. If you think negative and you have negative perceptions, then that's all you'll see and that's all you'll be and that's all you'll have. And that's just who you'll be, a negative overall person. But if you think a little bit more optimistically, not naive, but when you think a little bit more optimistic, when you have a little bit more hope, and when you think a little bit more positive about situations, you start to see the good in things. You start to have gratitude. And I think a lot of this starts with making sure that we have the right friend group, right? Like if you're telling your friend group your goals and dreams and they're scoffing at you or they don't believe in you or they're not pushing you towards that or they're not checking up on you and saying, hey, bro, how's that project going and how could I help? I'm telling you, you're probably in a cage. A cage keeps you the same, right? But you want your friends to be able to help you. You want your friends to be able to support you the same way that you would support them, the same way that you would help them. And help can just look like encouraging you, making sure that your mindset is good, and making sure that you have faith in the process of what you're doing, making sure that you're locked in and on your purpose. So you want to make sure that your environment is good, healthy, and clean. You want to make sure that your friends are pushing you towards greatness, because if they're not, then they're keeping you the same. Another sneaky habit is junk food. Having too much junk food in the home, that's a huge sneaky habit, because when you're going grocery shopping, you're like, oh, I could just get one candy, or I could get a chip, and I could get and you know what I'm saying? So they put different categories for all these things. So candy, chocolate, chips, and then you grab one of each and you realize that you've become a snacker. And so now that's why it's hard for you to lose weight, or it's hard for you to be healthy, or it's hard for you to actually appreciate the progress that you should be making in the gym and with your health, because you snack too much, because you have too much junk food in your home. So you have to have a little bit more discipline there, and you have to know when to say no. You have to know when you don't need something, and you need to replace that with healthier snacks. And so what I've been doing, and I think my wife as well, is she's been getting healthier snacks for us. And so like we'll get fruit, we'll get grapes, we'll get strawberries, we'll just replace what we used to like, and we'll realize that, oh, this is actually really good. Here's another sneaky one, and this is big when it comes to the realm of what we consume: alcohol. The reason why alcohol is sneaky and it's a bad habit, especially when it's overconsumed, is that alcohol tends to bring you down. It tends to bring your consciousness down, right? It tends to make you unconscious of the behaviors and actions that you're doing. And so you want to make sure that you're not over consuming alcohol. If you want to consume less alcohol or get rid of it, what if I told you that there's an alternative to where you can still get the nice buzz feeling without the hangover, without the unhealthiness, okay, without you feeling like you are drunk? You can still get that nice buzz, and it's non-alcoholic. So with that being said, today I'm here to introduce Kava Haven to you, okay? And I've been drinking this for the past few weeks. This is non-alcoholic. It tastes so good. It helps me to relax, helps me to enjoy my evening, helps me to enjoy the day. You would think that it's alcohol in it, but there's none. So what Kava Haven is it is extracted from the kava plant root. Okay, and this is something that has been used in ceremonies and traditions for thousands of years. The ingredients are all natural. It includes lemon, ginger, cardamom, and vanilla extract. To me, I believe that kava is for people who are trying to take their health to the next level. I believe it's for people who still want to unwind without drinking alcohol. They want a healthier alternative. And I believe that this is for people who are looking to become sober, or they're curious about being sober and seeing what that life entails. This is a great way for you to start that journey. I believe that kava is a drink that everybody could drink and just unwind and just relax. And knowing that it's natural on top of that, knowing that it's a plant, it makes you realize that why are we drinking poison all the time? I'm not saying that you can't ever have a drink. I'm just saying that usually alcohol is seen as a poison, and it technically is. And that's what science says it is. It's a poison. And that poison has effects that can truly harm us if it's consumed over a long period of time and if we're overindulging in it. Right. And so I think that this is a healthy alternative, feeling good and unwinding without being unconscious, without losing my consciousness. I'm having great conversations with people. I'm still myself. I'm not wobbling. You know what I mean? I'm not getting blacked out drunk. I'll always be aware of my surroundings. It's just a nice drink to help you unwind. It doesn't have alcohol. And so for me, it's a no-brainer for me to bring it to you guys, because I want you guys to be healthy. I want you guys to be happy, and I want you guys to live long, prosperous, and beautiful lives. And I truly mean that. So right now, because they are partnering with us, can't get this deal anywhere else. Okay, so we're lucky. It's 15% off. All right. So you get 15% off once you scan the QR code here, and once you click the link below this video. 15% off just for you guys. The first link below this video, or you can scan the QR code on the screen right here. I truly appreciate you guys' attention on that. I hope that you make healthier decisions, man. I'm just giving you guys the alternatives, okay? One thing that I can't understand is men waking up and not having structure, not having a plan, right? So it's important for you to understand that once you wake up, you need to actually write down 3 of your main priorities that you're planning to get done for the day. You don't want the day to just catch up with you. You want to be able to make sure that you're ahead of schedule, that you are proactive instead of being reactive. And most men are reactive. They only react to their situations instead of creating better situations for them to be in. They're reactive because they're not taking charge on their mornings. They're not doing the things that they need to do. They're not spending less time on their phone and more time in books or more time journaling or more time going on a walk like we spoke about earlier in the video. So what's really happening is, how are we setting up our life? How are we setting up our time? That's what this whole video is about. How are you going to set up your life to be healthier, to be more productive, to be better? Right. And the things that we're going over are certain things that can really lead you down a negative road if you're not careful. Right. Like social media is neutral. Some people will still say alcohol is neutral. That's fine. But in abundance of those things, what will that do? Well, yeah, that can crash your life. That can ruin the things that you're working on or working towards. So it's very imperative for us to understand these habits and for us to switch these habits around with more positive habits or more positive products for us to have in our life so we can be better. The next thing is that we are neglecting that quiet time. That quiet time is what you need in your life to actually sit down and reflect, having that time to pray, meditate, having that time to relax. Without that little time of just making sure that you have some solitude, you're always going to be on go and you're always going to have chaos going on in your mind. Sometimes we have to slow things down, have a little bit of quiet time, even if it's only 5 minutes, implement that into your life. And I promise you, you're going to see a lot of changes. People, they are continuing to do negative habits because they haven't had the time to sit down and reflect on the results that the habits have been bringing them in their life. Most likely, the results that it's been bringing is probably not all that positive. There's always something that we can improve on. There's always something that we could get better at. And then once we get better at it, we become even more efficient and we become even greater than what we once were. This is all part of getting 1% better each day, right? So in order to get 1% better each day, it's not about more effort. Sometimes it's about making sure that we're replacing what's not working with what does work. All right. The next thing that we have to be very wary about is saying yes to everything. Okay. When you say yes to everything, it spreads you thin. You have to protect your time. Okay. You have to learn to say no. And I know that this is hard, but we have to learn to say no. If something does not feel right in your spirit, say no. If you don't have the amount of time that you think you have in order to commit to something, say no. We don't always have to say yes to every little thing. Again, when you say yes to everything, you're kind of not having a direction in your life of where you're going. When you say yes to everyone, you're kind of not building the friend group that you need to build to get you and your peers from one point to another together. Okay, so you probably can't say yes to everything, right? Because it might spread you thin and then you don't have enough time to actually work on the things that are going to improve your life. So utilize the word no more often than you do now. Okay, because I know a lot of us will say yes, 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 yes. And then when push comes to shove, we're like, oh my gosh, I said yes to this, and you have to make sure that you are prioritizing yourself first, because if you don't fill up your own cup first, you will always be operating from a place of emptiness. You will always be operating from an empty cup. You will feel drained. You will feel tired, right? These are sneaky little things that adds up. You said yes to this. You said yes to that. You said yes to this. You said yes to that. But the truth is you are just one person, and there's going to be a lot of people that want to use you or utilize you. And that doesn't mean that that's a bad thing, but you have to make sure that you're utilizing yourself, okay, to really, really improve your life the ways in which you want. The next thing, okay, diving too deep into excessive news and drama. Somebody's always telling you something and you perking your ears to hear it. What you have to understand is negative headlines and gossip will keep you fearful and distracted. Okay, so you need to limit the news to maybe once or twice a day, and you need to stop feeding your mind junk. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing, right? And remember, I'm not saying that you can't I'm not saying that you can't be informed. It is important to be informed. You need to know what's going on around you. You need to know what's going on in your country. You need to know what's going on in your city. You need to have awareness. That is very important. You need to be informed. You need to be aware. But the truth is, fam, you don't need the news as often as you think you need the news, okay? The next thing that you need to know and you need to understand is that you have to stop having procrastination loops. Okay, so avoiding tasks creates guilt and it also creates mental exhaustion. You just need to attack the tasks that you need to do right out the gate. Like I said, having a productivity list, having the priority list that you need, doing the things that you need to do right away instead of waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and pushing it off and pushing it off and waiting to do it and pushing it off. At the end of the day, you only have a limited amount of time and you need to get it done. If you don't, the problem is you're going to remain the same. You're going to stay the same. You're not going to get the results that you want in life because you keep procrastinating. So sometimes what I do, and I'm looking at my notes here if you're wondering, I use the 2 minute rule. Okay, so I do it now if it takes less than 2 minutes. All right, like if it takes less than 2 minutes, or sometimes I'll up it to the 5 minute rule, or I'll up it to the 10 minute rule, depending on how busy I am that day. Little things that really don't take that much time, I'm like, you know what? Let me work on it if it's going to take less than 5 minutes. Let me work on it if it's going to take less than 2 minutes. And what that does is that just gets the ball rolling, guys. It gets the ball rolling. All you want is to get the ball rolling. Okay. The next thing that's going on is that we do have a lack of vitamin D. Okay, so we're having a lack of sunlight. I think a lot of people are in the homes a lot. Like nowadays, it's like nobody's outside anymore. I remember when I was growing up and I came from school, I would beg my mom, please, can I go outside? And she would say, did you do your homework? And I would say yes. And she said, did you do your chores? And I would say yes. And she said, did you wash the dishes? And I would say yes. So it's just like, she would use me wanting to go outside as a way for me to get things done around the house. But I would want that, I'm like, yeah, let me get this done. Let me get that done. Let me clean my room. Let me make sure my homework is done. Because I know once I go outside, I'm going to want to enjoy that time and not worry about the things that need to get done. Okay, so we're not outside as much. So I'm just reminding us to be outside and to get at least 15 to 30 minutes of sunlight each and every day if you can. That helps with depression. That helps with being sad. Just literally being outside. That helps with your health. If you're happy, it will make you happier. Okay, the sun is light. All right, and light is a beautiful thing. Okay, so don't neglect the sun because the sun doesn't neglect you. It shows up every single day for you. All right. The next thing that you need to understand is that you need to make sure that you don't have a cluttered environment. If your environment is too cluttered, it will also make your mind way too cluttered. Okay. Mess around you creates mess inside you. So in order to break that, I want you to make sure that you're keeping your room and desk clean. Okay. Simplicity fuels clarity, and clarity fuels creativity, and creativity helps you to create the reality that you want for yourself. Okay, so it's very important that to understand that cleanliness is next to godliness. It's important to be clean. Okay, it really is. So two more things. All right, chasing validation. When you're living for approval, stop that. Very negative. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to want to be in your life, and you're going to have to be okay with that. Okay. Living for approval, especially from women or for social media or from your peers, it keeps you very needy. Okay. So you got to break that and you need to focus on self-improvement. That's what this channel is all about. Focus on building a relationship with yourself, with the Most High. Okay. You have to understand that validation is a side effect of you focusing on yourself. People are going to validate you even when you never asked for it because you put the work in each and every single day. And that's just how it works. The second thing that I want to share with you before we close out is when you keep living in the past, it's going to be very hard for you to build the future of your dreams. All right. So when you're replaying regrets, that's killing your energy for the day. You need to learn the lesson and move forward. If you haven't been your best self, you can choose to be your best self today. And the truth is, that's all that matters. Okay. I'm going to actually leave you with another one, making sure that you're not thinking too negatively. Right? Your thoughts really are important And so I wanted to I think I brought that up, but I want to restate that. I want you to understand how important it is for you to be positive. I want you to understand how important it is for you to be optimistic. I think I spoke about that when we were speaking about friend groups, okay? But this is just for yourself, all right? Internally for yourself. Please make sure you're taking care of yourself. Please make sure you're not thinking negative about yourself. You are the one that is on your team. You cannot go against yourself. The whole world could go against you, but you need to be on your side. You need to be on your team. Your mind needs to be your friend, not your enemy. All right. So in closing, guys, you have to understand that your energy literally is your currency, and how you spend your energy is very important, because for a lot of people, they are spending their energy on things that are not bringing them back value. So again, one of the things, right, that drains your energy is alcohol. There's a replacement for that. Click that link below, or the QR code. You can scan that and it'll take you right to this drink. Your brother has been drinking it. It's great. Okay. I want you to try it as well and let me know your thoughts on it. I love you guys. I appreciate you for watching this video. This video is very, very important. And so replay it as many times as you need to. Make sure you're taking notes. All right. Everybody should have a journal. Make sure you are taking notes on videos like these, man, because I promise you, if you implement the things that I'm telling you to implement, it will change your life. Peace.